On this right now, we want to bring in Sean Spicer. He's the incoming White House press secretary and communications director for President-elect Trump. Happy New Year, Sean.
Happy New Year, Allison. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Great to see you. Okay, so we know that Mr. Trump wants to repeal and replace Obamacare. Beyond Obamacare, on day one, what specific regulation will he do away with?
Well, I think you're going to see a series of them, and that's to be announced. We're not going to get out ahead of ourselves, but he released a video right around Thanksgiving talking about the first 5 or 6 executive orders that he's going to issue. Some of them, withdrawing from TPP, renegotiating NAFTA and giving notice, instituting a lobbying ban that is very forward-thinking, that's saying that if you want to serve in a Trump administration, you need to serve this government, not yourself, and it's going to have a 5-year ban going forward, and it also has a lifetime ban on people who want to serve in this administration and then potentially lobby for a foreign government. There will be a lifetime ban on that. There will be a slew of other things that come forward, but I think part of this is that we'll have a rollout where we talk about the agenda and how each of those regulations, both ones that we're going to repeal and put in place, help grow jobs and economic growth.
Okay. Sean, let's talk about the alleged Russian hacking of the DNC. Mr. Trump says he knows things that other people don't. What will he be revealing to the American public on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Well, it's not a question of necessarily revealing. Remember, the president-elect is privy to a lot of classified information, intelligence reports. He gets briefed by his national security team on a daily basis. So as president-elect, he is privy to information that most people aren't, and he is able to understand what the intelligence is and draw conclusions from that. But one thing I think is missing from this discussion, Allison, is this report that everyone keeps talking about is not final. The current president of the United States hasn't seen a final report. The intelligence community is talking about wrapping it up later this week. So for anybody to be going out and talking about what's in the report, it's not final yet. And I think that the idea that we're jumping to conclusions before we have a final report is frankly irresponsible.
Yeah. I mean, I said alleged hacking, but I want to get back to my question. It's Mr. Trump who said he's going to reveal something. So what is it that he says that he knows things? We accept, obviously he knows things that we don't know. He is getting intel briefings. Is he going to reveal something from an intel briefing?
No. I mean, he's going to talk about his conclusions and where he thinks things stand. So he's not going to reveal anything that was privileged or shared with him classified. But I think he can share with people his conclusions of the report and his understanding of the situation, and make sure that people understand that there's a lot of questions out there, Allison. Number one, look at what happened in April of 2015. The Chinese stole millions of records on U.S. current and former employees, their most sensitive information that was contained in security clearance forms. And nothing happened with the White House, not a single statement. And now you have an instance where there was a political activity going on, and the question is the response of this administration, the sanctions they put on, proportional with the activities that happened? And number two, is it a political response to Russia, or is it a diplomatic response? Because we haven't seen these kind of sanctions in peacetime in our history.
Sean, just to correct you, you say not a single statement was ever issued or made after the Chinese hacking. I have the statement right here in my hands. This is from September 2015. President Obama said, quote, "We are preparing a number of measures that will indicate to the Chinese that this is not just a matter of us being mildly upset, but it is something that we will put significant strains on the bilateral relationship if not resolved." He went on to say, "We are prepared to take countervailing actions in order to get their attention." So there were statements issued.
He did answer that. The activity occurred in April of 2015, and what you're saying is, what, 6 months later, he made comments about it when asked? That's very different than the activity that they're going through right now. The White House is being very, let me give you another piece of information. The President of the United States says in September, he, quote, told Vladimir Putin to, quote, knock it off. If he knew then that there was activity going on, why didn't they act? Was it because of a political reason that they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win, and they thought, why address this now? It's only until Donald Trump won that they seem to want to react to Russia.
But Sean, I'm more interested in what Mr. Trump is going to do than what we're not electing President Obama again. But you are representing Mr. Trump. So if Mr. Trump, if the conclusion is that in fact Russia and Vladimir Putin were behind the DNC hacks and tried to meddle in the U.S. election, what will Mr. Trump do about it?
He will meet with his team. take their recommendations and make a conclusion based on that as to what a proportional response should and could be.
What does that look like?
How can you ask me what it looks like when we don't even have a final report?
Because you must be planning for that possibility.
No, the way that the idea that you should be talking about the conclusion or the actions that you're going to take on a conclusion that's not final yet is unbelievably irresponsible.
Wait
the
a minute,
report
Sean.
is not. No, hold on. The report's not final. He has not been briefed by the heads of the intelligence community yet, and you're asking me what his response should be.
He has not been briefed by the heads of the intelligence community about whether or not they believe that Russia is behind the hacking.
No, they're coming in later this week to do that. And so the idea that you're asking me, and neither is the President of the United States, frankly, because the report isn't final.
Yep.
So the idea that you're asking anybody what their reaction should be to a non-final report is unbelievable.
Well,
I just don't get it. No, not hold on.
Sean.
The idea that we are asking people and making assumptions on a report that's not final is unbelievable.
Okay, so in other words, Lindsey Graham and Senator John McCain are also unbelievable and irresponsible since
they're not the ones who instituted the sanctions. It's the President of the United States.
They're planning hearings about it. They believe these 17 intelligence.
Oh, wait, stop. Hold on. Listen to what you just said. They're planning hearings. They are actually trying to get it right, listen to what's going on, get the intelligence, and then come to a conclusion.
Wait a minute.
That's actually
Sean,
the right way to go.
They have stated that they believe that Russia is behind this. That's why they're holding the hearings.
I understood. They believe something, then they're having a hearing to get more information, and then coming to a conclusion. That's what we believe should happen.
Yeah.
Understand all of the information, get all of it, get briefed, make sure the report is final, get the intelligence community to brief us on that, and then come to a conclusion.
And you're not going to make any plan. You guys aren't even having conversations about the possibility.
I know this is frustrating for you that we're doing it in a logical way, but no, we are going to actually get all the information, get briefed properly, and then make a decision. We're not going to put the cart before the horse.
And then Mr. Trump's going to speak with his team and decide something.
Yes.
Sean, Sean, I know that you want to talk this morning, not about any of this, but you wanted to talk about the cabinet picks, so let's do that. There are still, here we'll put up who Mr. Trump has chosen for his cabinet already, but I'll tell you what posts still have to be filled: Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Council of Economic Advisors, Trade Representative, Secretary of Agriculture. So.
And the Director of National Intelligence.
Okay, Director of National Intelligence. So, since I know that your team likes the big reveal that we might be getting this week from Mr. Trump, can you give us a reveal of who might be chosen next?
Absolutely not. I'm not going to, but I appreciate the effort. I think that, look, until Mr. Trump makes a decision, there is no decision, and he's continuing to meet with folks. This week, he met with a lot over the last week, made a series of phone calls and in-person meetings to finalize those 4 picks. They're all very important picks, and that's why he's taking his time making a deliberative process to get through. What I think is unfortunate, however, is you saw last night a report coming out from Senator Schumer about how they're planning to oppose all of these individuals. And just as a reminder for folks, because I think a lot of folks probably feel like this is how it normally works. In 2008, when President Obama came in, the Republican-controlled Senate confirmed 7 of his nominees before he took office and 5 the following week. So 13 members of President Obama's team were in place within 5 days of him actually taking office, 7 of them before he ever got sworn in. That's the kind of way that it should be looked at. It is sad that Senator Schumer has chosen to politicize everything, because each of these individuals is an unbelievably agent of success and change that's going to help this country move forward. And the idea that the Democrats' choice is to figure out from day one how to oppose every one of these individuals is frankly sad.
So the Republicans didn't slow roll or dig in on anything, right, that President Obama wanted. They wanted to help and avoid gridlock too.
No. There's a difference, Allison. I think that there's no question we have a philosophical and political difference on where this country should go and the policies that should be enacted. But we believed, and we showed through our actions in 2008, that the president, if they nominate qualified people, they should be nominated. The numbers speak for themselves. We confirmed 13 people in his cabinet within 5 days, 7 before he ever took office. I don't know how you can prove that more than those kind of actions. So the idea that the Senate...
What Chuck Schumer has said, Sean, and what the Democrats have said is that if they're not comfortable uncomfortable
they
with
put out
one
a
of the
list.
nominations
They actually
or the
put a list out.
why should they go along with it? They'll do whatever they can.
Hold on.
Like for instance,
they
Jeff
put
Sessions.
a list of 10 people out saying we're going to oppose these 10 people, not on the basis of their qualification to hold office, not on their qualification to enact change or that they were the best person, but because they thought they could score political points.
And the Republicans, again, before President Obama ever got into office, famously said, we are going to oppose every possible thing that we can. I mean, isn't this sort of how the game is played in Washington,
No, actually,
sadly?
Again, just to correct the record, Mitch McConnell, a year after President Obama was in a political setting, our goal is to make him a one-term president. What Republican doesn't want to make sure that that we have one-term people of the opposition party? That's our job, is to make sure we elect more Republicans.
Right.
So that comment was said a year after he got into office. The idea that they are now trying to obstruct this cabinet prior to him even taking office is quite contrary to anything that's even come close to this.
I think your timeline might be wrong. I will check that, Sean, because I think it was right when President Obama was elected. But either way, there'll be more days for you and I to debate all of this. Sean, thank you very much for joining us.
Happy New Year, Allison.
You too. John.
Happy New Year.